Hey guys, it's me. I had a request, so I thought I would make a video. Another one. Mainly because these are just so easy to do. It's amazing. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is the two custom weapons I came up with on these are. And they kind of go hand in hand. I was going to make two separate videos, but since the subject matter is so similar, I thought I would just go ahead and combine the two. The first weapon is the lacken that the Akalak use. There's a lot of confusion over what they are and what they do, so I thought I would go through them and talk about them briefly. Ooh, my computer's shaking. And perhaps clear up some misconceptions. The other thing I want to talk about is the Conti Suvai. So let's start with the lacken first. Basically, because of Weiser's presence in the Akalak's life, he's like the father of the Akalak. And Akaja being there, they've developed a way for the Akalak to sort of capture parts of themselves in a weapon. And they do it through ritual, and they tend to do it at their rite of passage. And so once they've proven that they're an adult and that they can handle things, then they go ahead and forge a lacken as part of their "Ooh, I'm a man" ceremony. So what does a lacken do? It's a dagger. It's usually very ornamental, and it's got a kind of curved blade, like maybe a Chris would have. Each lacken looks different, so it doesn't matter if, somebody's using an image and it's not quite the ideal. The only problem is they need to be dagger sized. And the reason that the Akalak forge a lacken is because the sole purpose of a lacken is to be able to give them away in case they have debts or loved ones they want to protect. So basically, somebody goes off and saves an Akalak's life. That Akalak will have a lacken with them at all times. And what they'll do is they'll give the lacken to the person that they owe the debt to so that the person can keep the lacken. And if that person is ever in need, that Akalak will know. And the other thing it is it's like a tracking mechanism. The Akalak can always find their lacken. They know where they are because it's a piece of themselves. So they just concentrate and they can get a vague sensation that, oh, my lacken's to the north. And when somebody's holding a lacken or has it on their person that belongs to somebody else, then, and that person that has a lacken is experiencing danger, that fear will translate directly into the lacken, and that person that forged the lacken will know. And that way that Akalak has the opportunity, if they're willing, to go help the person that they owe the debt to. Now, if you take an Akalak that doesn't belong to you, or you find one that's not yours, it's a completely different situation. They're sacred items, and you only have them if something's going on. If you have your father's your Akalak father's lacken, and that father is dead, that lacken is like dull, useless, lifeless. It has no purpose. You can carry it around for sentimental value, but it would be really offensive to an Akalak to have a dead parent's weapon on them, unless that parent is alive. Now, a parent could give a lacken to a child, no problem, to watch over that child, but daggers are serious items, so you really only want to give it to somebody that you absolutely love and you want to protect. And so that means there's probably a lot of women walking around Riverfall that have lackens from their mates, wives or Nakavaks that would have a lacken of the person that they are attached to. And again, that's a really practical thing. People can keep track of where these people are and make sure they're safe and help them if they need help. I know my PC in Riverfall has someone's lacken, and it was one of her Talvises. But again, the PC quit playing, so my character is not carrying the lacken because she doesn't think that he's alive. But if you say were an Akalak and you fell in love with somebody, the first thing you would do is give them your lacken, and then you would forge a new one. So it's not like there's only one ever. You might have 5 or 10 lacken out there, and they might be on 5 or 10 different people, and you might get a little confused if you have that many out there. But by and large, you always have one as an Aklak yourself personally on you. And you have that so that you can give it away to somebody else if they need it. And you owe them something, you know. So hopefully that clears it up. So not every Aklak has just one. And most Aklak, every Aklak you find should have one on them. Period. And if they've given their Aklak away, or they're giving their Lakan away, then they'll go make another one right away. And there's people that will help them do that. And that's in Weiser's Tower. So I probably should add a section to the lore that regards that. Anyhow, so that's the Lakan. And other than a homing device, there's no real special powers in them. But they do have a piece of that person's soul that made them. So that person is very strongly attached to that Lakan. And if somebody dies or the debt is paid, the Lakan is given back. If somebody gets a divorce, you know, something like that, the Lakan's given back. So it's not something that's always permanent. And an Aklak might have two, might have three of them, and they might all be given back at the same time. They would just carry them on them. And it's a sign of pride. I mean, if you're, say, somebody that's really helped others around, you might be walking around Riverfall carrying 4 or 5 Lakan. Navarre's lady probably has one of his, and she probably has more than one, probably of Navarre's elite guard. She's probably wearing Lakan from all of them as well. So it's not uncommon, and it's a very ritualistic, honorable thing. And if you take an Aklak's Lakan, they will probably hunt you from the ends of the world to get it back, because it's that important and their honor is wrapped up in it. So, okay, so that's the Lakan. Now, I'm like getting lost in my hair. Let's talk about the Suvai for a minute. Everybody thinks they look like Sai, but they don't. They're not Sai at all. The only way that they kind of resemble Sai is that they have 3 prongs. But I've described them before, and I need to like make a clay figure or something. It's kind of a hard thing to draw a 3D situation about a Suvai. But what it is picture a unicorn horn. It looks kind of like that, except for it's short. It's probably 6 or 8 inches long. Picture 3 of them together forming a triangle, pointed out of the base of the weapon. So kind of like, I don't know, kind of like this, you know, but with 3, I only have 2 fingers. I don't have 3 arms. So, and then take those 3 little unicorn type looking horns and bring them up and then twist them about each other. So your Suvai is a weapon that has 3 prongs, but they're spiraled. Each prong is spiraled. My dogs are barking because my husband's home. And they're twisted. Momo, stop. Come here. Come here, Momo. Say hi. Hi, Momo. Look, it's Momo, and he's being really bad. Anyways, get down. Sorry. Always, hey. Hey, stop it. Mo, come here. Oh, Matt's up on the roof. The windstorm blew down a gutter and the dogs are barking now. So, hold on a second. Anyways, gosh, so many interruptions in my house. I'm surprised I can even make a video. So, you have 3 prongs and they're all twisted around each other. And if you think about that, that looks nothing at all like a Sai. It looks nothing like a Sai. And you can fight with them. You can break other weapons with them because you can hook the blades through the, you know, twisted spirals and break them off. But the most powerful thing about the Suvai is that they're poisonous. So if you touch them, you know, they don't need to be re-envenomed or anything like that. You just touch them and they pierce something. They can, like, infect the, oh, I got another cat. So you want to say hi to this one? This is Lucky. Hi, Lucky. Anyways, they can infect you with a paralytic. So if you're a human, don't spar with a Conti because they'll just stab you with their Suvai, and all they need is a little cut, and you're like out for the count, laying on the ground, staring at the ceiling, going duh, and they could take you out. It's kind of a cultural benefit. Now, I know, like, it's really weird. I play a Conti and I don't have her have Suvai because I thought that raised Dreykus, she could be, kind of separated from that culture and she wouldn't have access to one. So, but all the other Conti should pretty much have Suvai. And where they get them is there is a whale that looks like a narwhal, but is not. It's a small whale, probably the size of some of the larger dolphins, and they get them off of those when they pass away. Occasionally they beach on Murrah, and when they beach on Murrah, it's a really big thing, and they go harvest the Suvai. So that's mainly how they get them. They don't kill the whales to get them. They wait until the whales die, and they make them from the nose. They're horns that come out of the nose of the whale, or like a modified tooth. I think it would probably be more accurate to call it a modified tooth because that's what the narwhal horns are. So anyways, that's the Suvai, and they're usually handled in pairs. They're a dual-wield weapon. Obviously, they just are handled singly until somebody gets 30 in Suvai, and then they can turn around and, start working with them two-handed, or not two-handed, but you know what I mean, dual-wielded. I can never spell that word. That's the most hardest word in the world to spell. Anyhow, so that's the Lakan and the Suvai, and hopefully, oh look, I have a spanky hair sticking up. Hopefully that will clear up some of the confusion about these weapons, and stop asking for heirlooms of having your dad's Suvai or your dad's Lakan if you're an acolyte, unless you did something to save your father's life or your father's like super protective, and you're walking around with daddy's Lakan, or granddaddy's Lakan. In fact, I think that might kind of be one of those situations where, the other acolytes would pick on you. Well, look, you have daddy's Lakan. Cool. Is daddy going to come if we beat you up? Kind of a thing. Although that's not really, their culture. They're super honorable. But I could see how that would be a little bit of ribbing if you're walking around with your dad's Lakan. So try to keep the Lakans in use the way they need to be used. And if you're not a Conti and you're using a Suvai, good luck with that. I hope you always handle it with leather gloves and you never ever have an accident with it, because one poke and they're sharp too, so one poke and you're going to be down for the count, and they'll knock you out for a good 15-20 minutes. But luckily it's not a paralytic that will stop your heart or something like that. They're not lethal. They'll just basically get you out of commission long enough for the Conti to run away or to kill you other ways, or in the case of the whale, it just basically pokes things with it and eats them. So that's what the Conti kind of think it's a blessing from their father, Laviku, when they get some beached whales and are able to harvest some Suvai from them. So anyways, everybody have fun. I hope that this has cleared up some issues with these weapons, and I'll try to keep these videos coming. Just keep making requests. And the big one that's out there right now is shielding. Reg has had this huge, it's enormous, help desk ticket in for months and months. Maybe not months, maybe a month plus. But it's a huge help desk ticket about shielding. So I need to get together enough information, or I guess, I don't know. I have to think about how I want to word this shielding, because there's a lot of people that are misusing shielding out there. It's kind of like Tarot's heuristics. It's not what you think it is, and it's a very benign, very defensive weapon. It's not something that, oh, I can't be voided now, or you can't kill me because I have a 80 in shielding thing. It's a lot different than that. So you have to be very meticulous about how you shield things in order for shielding to work effectively. So I'll talk about that soon. And I'll see you guys all later.